Hello, hello. This is Irene with SaugaTalks. Hello, thank you, followers and listeners, and everybody else who just maybe by chance went to their LinkedIn feed and they see Irene speaking with fascinating people in tech. If you're on YouTube, if you're on X, or if you're on your favorite podcasting platform, all right, I speak here about AI, about digital transformation, automation. Today, I am extremely privileged because Alexis Chevallot with me. Alexis, how are you?
I'm very good. Very, very good. And you?
I'm doing fabulous because today we're going to talk about agentic AI seem to be
Yeah.
everywhere now, okay? It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. People write about it, people speak about it. Still, some people don't understand what it is. So the short answer, Alexis, from you, please, how is it different from chatbot? How is it different from other AI applications? What's agentic to you?
Yeah, so for me, agentic is actually, I really liked an analogy. It didn't come from me, I think, but basically it's giving the hands to AI, to the brain. So everyone talks about AI, generative AI. A lot of models are updated every week. All this is the brain, how it thinks, how it enables things. But the agenting part is giving the hands, the arms to this brain, enabling it to interact with or work. So may it be or like financial department, HR department, yeah, any operational aspects. But we are special. I'm personally an expert in finance. I've been working for 10 years in that area. So I'm mostly focused on the agentic, financial agentic part.
Beautiful, beautiful. So let's dive right into it. All right. So, what agentic AI can do in finance nowadays that we were not able, hopefully, right? Not long ago. Yeah.
So I think there are even in agentic, people will get lost, but I will try to make it myself as clear as possible. But basically, there are also different level of agentic. What we see a lot on the market since 1 year is like generic agentic, meaning like that it's built one instance for everyone. When actually, what's the next phase, and I think what the whole buzz, what's the buzz about agentic AI at the moment is a lot of experts are talking about the AI employee, kind of like this agentic level where you don't realize that so much it's a technology, but more like you are interacting with it like a colleague. So sending an email on asking for the financial reporting of last month, asking for making the accounting, to report invoices or to send invoices to clients. The potential of it is infinite. I mean, like what we are going to discover in the next 5 years are departments, financial departments with like billions of revenue that are being managed with a handful of people on like hybrid teams, human and AI agents. So everything can be done. It will depend of choice, strategy, and also like the high value of human that we have in the team.
Fantastic. I want to be in that future for sure. Okay. It has a great promise. Let's talk reality a little bit, right?
Yeah,
So,
I get.
maybe, some of the great successes, no client names, but just really great projects where agentic really helps and brings ROI because we're all about efficiencies nowadays, right?
Yeah, so I really like this being focused on the reality, because what I think have been talked about for the past year or 2 years, we had a talks over the past few last weeks with the team. We see that basically finance team and CFOs, but also leaders in general, have been overwhelmed with AI and with agentic AI for the past year, with a lot of beautiful promises, but without a reality check. And so, like, to give you some example of what we have already achieved, what's actually running on the production of like some enterprise in Europe, but also in US. Are like, for example, agents that are preparing the reporting on a daily basis, what happened in the business, in the operation every day. So, for example, we are working with a delivery company, and every day, every morning, there was like basically a whole team extracting data from different systems in different countries. It was, I mean, like 4 hours of extracts every day for multiple people. That happens so basically on the morning done by an agent. Why on the morning or not before, etc.? Because actually the data needs to be collected and published in the databases during the night. So after 2 a.m. or something like that, the agents start to extract the information and to build reportings on good old Excel, because the team on human still want to handle it on the morning. And so there is a lot of things like this, but in this precise use case, every morning with the reporting of every delivery that have been done all over like Europe for a delivery company that we all know. And so basically showing the profitability of the different deliveries, if it came from a home address or if it came from an office, and vice versa. So that's one example for like reporting. Another example for people in tax or in compliance out there is a law firm company based in Luxembourg, having like more than 500 reports prepared every month, with data that was coming from each client with specificities, and basically the agent collecting the data, knowing all the rules about the compliance that is to happen, and preparing again like the compliance documentation for the administration. And that basically saves hundreds of hours every month, to the point that we had the clients actually telling us end of last year that we need to build an emergency plan if at some point it breaks, because it just can't do the work anymore without those agents, because it's just too much for their team. So that was a great feedback from us. So we basically are like building contingencies and things like that. So, but that's really how impactful it can be, and how impactful it will get, even like it will get even more impactful in the future. And so a third use case maybe, in aviation, we have like an agent that basically handle all the invoicing for a whole airline, and basically like sending all the invoices to clients, recording it in the ERP if the client is a first-time client, and creating the account in the ERP, recording it in the CRM, etc., etc. So it's a lot of systems that don't talk to each other. A lot of enterprise know this situation. And an agent is basically this human, or like artificial human, that actually will do what the human were doing before, but actually doing it for them, on leveraging like the high quality of both sides. The AI part on what's changed compared to automation, which like was the previous phase in terms of technology, is that like more and more it think and actually interact with a human. So let's say that, for example, you have a new customer, but it doesn't have some information, or the information doesn't really match, or it doesn't seem to be correct, or there is some hesitation. Then the AI agent, when it happens, goes back to the human and say like, actually everything is great. 99% of the case were handled perfectly, but this one has an hesitation because I've never seen that, or this guy maybe hasn't provided the right information. What should I do? And then the human basically interacts with it, saying like, oh yeah, this one, it's normal, there is a missing number or something like this, or just leave it aside, or actually integrate it, whatever. But it's basically this interaction and this thinking that happens.
Fantastic. Yes, this is really inspiring, Alexis, for sure. What about some challenges? Okay, I'm sure you dealt with the issues. Maybe it's reliability, maybe even some hallucinations, maybe just simple, I don't know, data infrastructure demands that affect the implementation, project implementation. So, what are the major challenges you're seeing right now?
I think the main challenges at the moment that are happening is the understanding. I think like there is a lack of clarity, and also a lack of transparency in general on the market about like what's possible and what's not. And so some of the challenges were definitely linked to what's possible, what's not possible, and to explain to clients like what's actually like something that's achievable or not. And after, in terms of technically, after in the production side, on our side, the biggest challenges were definitely the structuration. structuring correctly the AI agent to the people out there. An AI agent has a precise structure, so every AI agent that are out there should follow the same structure. And so on that aspect, to build this structure under certain compliance rules. So for example, as I was saying, we work with airlines, we work with lawyers in countries like Luxembourg, where they are very precise about the security, and they are very cautious about where the data should sit, how it should interact with their system, etc. On that aspect, that definitely the challenge, because I think on that aspect we are quite ahead of the market. We've been doing AI agent for a few years now, and due to that we were quite ahead on terms of challenges, and there was not a lot of documentation out there to say okay, if you want an AI agent that runs completely offline and that has really the most powerful AI that you can find, what can be done and how to do it and how to secure it. That's something that we faced and that we had to sort out.
Wow, wow. Have you faced a scalability issue, right? Because we know one pilot can go wonderful and everybody excited and rah-rah moment comes, right? And then how do you scale across the enterprise organization that's a bit larger than just one team?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. We have had one case specifically that I can remember, where basically it was just becoming so huge that the AI agent couldn't handle anymore, and we were actually running high cost. And I think that's something that we will have to learn in the next 5, 10 years. I mean, in the people in the industry, is that once you optimize, you realize that you can divide your cost by 100. And I think a lot of AI agents right now are not leveraging automation, for example, enough. I come from a background in a big four where I was doing automation. Then when we started Capto, it was mostly doing automation, and then we added that AI layer later on. Um, but we do realize that some use cases can be optimized on reducing the cost, for example, of AI by 100. And I think that leveraging automation is one of the lessons that will happen in the future for all the people working on AI, because I think there is a lot of new actor discovering AI, trying things, doing things, and being not experienced enough, not having the years behind them to leverage the process analysis and the logic that you can apply to actually make a process quite streamlined. And that one of the things that in terms of scalability needs to be learned. And for us, it was a process that was leveraging a lot of OCR AI, was a know your customer process, which was running a lot of power. And yeah, after we divided the process within subparts, and that optimized our process by something of the order of 100.
Got it. Yeah, you mentioned human element, right? You mentioned agentic agents, AI agents, right, becoming your employee, right? Or rather your middle managers, all right? And we human, we don't like the new oversight, right? We're barely managing with our own bosses. So question for you, how people are taking this, right? All right, how teams are taking, AI being, I don't know, moving from routine oversight to strategic partnership.
Yeah.
What's the future there?
Yeah, no, I think my view personally is we hear a lot of AI will replace all job, etc. I think that it's more on the depend of people on how you treat it. If you treat it as a partner, you can leverage your expertise, you can leverage your experience, and actually make actually high skill yourself, upskill yourself. Um, After the way we see it with Capto is that team will become hybrid. So basically there will be human interacting with AI agents, or AI employee as we like to call them. On that aspect, we'll have an interaction, but it won't be seen as a manager or as a boss. I believe it will be more seen as an oversee, as a security check. But it doesn't check the same thing. It will not do the same checks on the same proposition or brainstorm that a boss would do, or different in different ways, or it will interact with you the same way than actually you do interact with today human already interact with chatbots.
All right. Okay. I do like the answer, right? I do like. I'm sure every organization will learn for themselves, right? Because we're learning, right? We're all evolving, and technology is changing, right? Look at the new models coming in. Look at the new frameworks, right? Agentic AI framework. How to kind of think about holistically at the same time, a little more. What is it? Reliably, I would say, right? What's the like a good focus for leaders with budgets, with busy missions, with teams, right? Because this is an extra
Yeah.
innovation, right? So how do they handle all that pressure?
Uh, I think like they have been handling it already for 1 or 2 years. There is budget increasing for AI. There has been a lot of, to be fair, I think there has been a lot of disappointment,
Yep.
over promise from many solution provider. And nowadays, what's happening is more concrete use cases, enabling reliability on accuracy. It is much more work, and I think people start to understand that. We have been focused on that. We went very slow in our growth due to that. But our point of view is that to make an AI agent an AI employee, so the difference we make between AI agent and AI employee is exactly that: the accuracy and the impact. Because like an AI agent is generic, and to make it an AI employee is like you teach it, you provide it context, information, guardrails. You teach some processes the same way that you would actually automate a process, and then after like having done all of this, your AI agent is behaving much more like an AI employee. Why? Because it has been trained. It's like if you would have a new member in your team, you wouldn't just like implement, like I mean, like onboard them and ask them to do their job, because like the first few weeks they are going through trainings, they are going through company culture, etc., etc. Like we know the drill. But we have to like, and I think that's what businesses are understanding now, is that actually the same will happen for agentic AI or AI employees, that once they arrive, they basically are like newbies, and you have to teach them the context, the culture of the business, the team members, and who is responsible of what, meaning like who can get what information. If you are in the HR department, do you want everyone to see like the salaries of the whole business, or do actually you want to have like well-defined roles for every people in your HR department, for because you want different information provided to different people. And that's pretty important. I mean, that's very important. It was always important for businesses, and as long as like solution provider don't include that in the way they build AI agent, or businesses if they build it themselves, uh, as long as they don't integrate that part, that teaching part, that learning part, they will have AI agent that people will be disappointed about, or that won't do the job, that won't do the impact that they are actually dreaming about.
Speaking of disappointments, could you talk about disasters? All right, maybe your own, maybe other teams, maybe just something that you know in the industry. Things that went wrong. Okay, while implementing, and hopefully some lesson learned. I mean, how to avoid? Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, let's be very, very actual. And one thing I've read like over the last weekend is how Microsoft admitted that some of the AI that they have been implementing have been using data that we are not supposed to use. And there was data leakage due to this. So we can definitely see that even big players are discovering and making mistakes. Me, I'm very cautious about a lot of businesses right now that are thinking that due to AI they can do everything themselves, and they can build even if they don't have the background, the knowledge, etc. And I think it's a big mistake. There is some disaster that definitely will happen in the next 5 years. But like, I mean, huge disaster in terms of reputation for businesses, especially in finance. That's pretty important. On our side, I think for our side, it's mostly human. I mean, what we have done, I think we have a pretty good understanding. We have experience. The team is really like great. I'm very proud of this. But one thing is that we are a startup, and if I have to give one example, there is one. I remember one client where we didn't have the confidence that we have now, so we were at the start, and the client wanted to start by a very complex process, very hard, and didn't. And usually my view is always you start by the simple part and then after you grow from there. But I didn't want to, we didn't have the confidence on the expertise that we have right now, so I didn't feel like we could say anything at the time. And so we started with this very complex process, and nothing bad happened, but it took like something like 8 months or 1 year to actually start to have results. There was frustration growing on both sides, disappointment. I mean, I talk about disappointment. We did generate disappointment on that case. And yeah, like if I have anything to say is that all those people that are potentially starting their new like some new processes, especially discovering AI, they still can leverage their expertise in automation. When we started, I've done automation for 10 years now, and when I started, I had that expertise already of like how to deploy technology, how to do it, and so to start it. But when you actually start the first processes, and when you have the first client that asks you some interesting things, you are tempted sometimes to like not play too confidently, but actually like you are still the one with the most knowledge on that aspect.
Speaking of knowledge here, Alexis, looking into the future, what human trait might even the most advanced AI agents struggle to replicate? We're all anxious to know how we could keep our unique human personalities and our own skills.
I think like it's the same than it's the same than for a generative AI, agentic AI or any AI will have pain to go against a human. Against the opinion of a human. If you talk to an AI, to a ChatGPT or else, you can see that sometimes it will by default always go in your opinion, and it will explain and justify your opinion, which is the issue. Like actually, when we have conversation or when you have a team, oh my god, like I'm building a business. I can tell you like sometimes I have like the team members that tell me like no, we shouldn't do that, or like complain or something like this about something. And this is very important. I mean, this is really what enables to think and provide ideas. Discomfort is one of the driver to actually like innovation. And the problem is that AI has a tendency to always go on the comfort zone. And I think that's one aspect where like it will take a long time, and I don't know if it will ever. We'll probably do it some days, but it's basically like when you have personalities and when you start to go against and have your own opinion. That I'm not seeing it yet, and I'm not seeing it in the next years. Especially if I might add, I'm sorry for my long answers, but like especially the way that from when I see from leaders how they are developing AI right now is increasing the volume, the quantity, and they are not like the way they chase AGI is by doing more like parameters and basically increasing the volume instead of the quality. And I think that's like um, faking AGI, but the real AGI will be actually when it will have this kind of opinion on will go against your own opinion if you interact with it. But yeah, for now, the way things are being developed, it's not going in that direction, from in my opinion.
What excites you though? I mean, what trends you see? I mean, it's thankless job to trying to predict anything. That's why I'm doing it on purpose, right? As of today, right? What excites you in your opinion and your experience? What's come next that will make everybody's life and work easier?
I think for me, what excites me the most is like there is a confidence that will be built up over the technology. We are still at the very beginning of AI, There's still a lot of doubts. There is an amazing research that has been published this weekend showing that basically only 1 out of 100 or out of 1,000, I don't remember, like it's really like a small percentage of people that use AI, and even less agentic AI. And if then after, if you filter agentic AI between the generic one and the one that are custom and tailored to you, like Capto does, it's another like fraction. So I mean, this will change everything in the way business work. On this, we are at the very start, and the confidence and the trust is being built now by a few. And I'm very excited to see how business goes from there. Like, we have a few clients where now we have been working for 4 years, building more and more for them on implementing AI, agentic AI for a few years. For them, like with the trust, I see explosion, like the literal explosion of demand on the capability of the agents to actually do more and more work over the finance teams. And now it starts to interact with other departments like operation, logistic, HR. On that aspect is like completely transforming businesses of thousands of people, because like for two of our clients, it's like thousands of people with agentic AI, like being interacting with different departments of hundreds of people. On that's like very like it's transformative. That's really what people are talking on podcast, or like what leaders are actually forcing for the next decade. That's what we are at the very beginning with very few use cases, but that's very exciting.
Fantastic, fantastic. I cannot not ask about skills, okay? Because I hear a lot about, right, that software engineers, they are native AI workers, maybe not. What's your opinion? I mean, for technical and non-technical business people.
Yeah. So I actually had a stat from dev.bg last week. So a local provider of data on interacting in the in the IT market, and basically they were showing that software developers are the one that are basically being seen as replaced first, like because like there is a massive layoff and etc. Yet in the US, at the moment, there has never been as many people working in IT. So to me, it's like yes, there are things that are like being automated or like being taken care of by agentic AI, but still, like if you have your expertise on your knowledge, on your skills, you can leverage it with AI. You can be better, a better version of yourself, not like being replaced. The thing that I'm seeing, however, is that on the market there are two sides being drawn right now. The one that have this optimistic belief, my side, I will be a definite optimistic. As an entrepreneur, I think I have no choice. On the second side is being like, oh, we will all be replaced, and I will only rely on AI as from now. And I think that's a massive mistake, because AI can be an enabler, can give you a lot of information, can help you to move forward faster, etc. But you still have a value and you still have your mind.
Today, this is incredible, all right? We're just scratching the surface, okay? We weren't planning to be comprehensive, right? We're all learning. I'm learning from you. Hopefully our audience will take the important takeaways. Can we please share maybe a few points to remember this conversation by?
Yeah, so if I might give few points, is like we are only at the beginning of agentic AI. Whatever people are saying, most of the agentic AI that are out there are generic. If you want to learn more about it, reach out to people that are actually doing custom on built homemade AI agents. I think they are like we are more and more people actually having the knowledge and having practice and experience about it. So do reach out, because there is a massive difference. Everything. I'm a big listener of DOAC, and everything they talk about has to be taken with with caution, in a way that like all those massive impact, all this like beauty is happening if you actually master the knowledge of like how to build agentic AI, and how to tailor it, how to teach it, etc., etc.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Many more successes to Capto. What's the best way to reach out to you and the team?
Oh, definitely like to on LinkedIn, like the team. So Peter and I are very like we are the two main leaders for the community, and we are very active on LinkedIn. Otherwise, do reach out through like our contact email at wearecapto.com.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Alexis, so very much.
Thanks.